Okay, it's not necessary that you say that you don't have problem. It's enough that you say, if somebody has a problem, say it. Okay, so as I mentioned, let me go to my screen. As I mentioned before, this is a course about your new paradigm for research as a PhD student. And what we are going to do today is presenting a bit the course, warming up the atmosphere to know what you you don't know, the concept, the policies, something like setting up the boundaries of what is going to be in the course. One of the main issues that we want to give in this course is a ticket for getting the plane of the open science, which is the new paradigm of research and innovation in whole world, but of course in Europe. And also we want to tell you what is the reason for have an open science paradigm and increasing your transparency and visibility. Of course, understanding principles, components, requirements, particularly in Europe, Spain, but also you will have a session devoted to what is going to happen in the University Carlos III of Madrid, because we want also to support you as PhD students to become open scientists. Also, you will have the opportunity in the next sessions to know the differences between open publications and what are the different options that you have in green open access and gold open access. Have a clarification of all these concepts that sometimes there are some misconceptions. And also people think that open science is just paying for publishing, and people think that it's all about open access to publications, but it's about the research cycle and about data and about many other things. Also, we will show you some infrastructures, some tools, and some interesting reflections for you to work in the open environment. And of course, the other objective is that you create your own strategy, your own behavior, because I have this theory that when you learn to do something when you are a PhD student in your research cycle, you keep doing that for all your life when you are a researcher and in a senior position. So what you have to learn here is going to be the future practice of your research. And also what I said to you, the other thing is that learning how the university will support your open science practices through a unit that we have recently created, which is called Unios in Spanish, join us. And this unit and the library are going to help the students and the faculty members and everybody in the university to practice open science as much as we can. But the real objective is what I said to you, is that giving you this t-shirt. At the end of the course, it's not that we are going to give you the t-shirts, but at the end of the course, I'm assuming that you will wear this t-shirt forever, because you will learn the main practices and the main behaviors to become an open scientist. The title of this course, The Ticket to Open Science, it was kind of an idea coming from this document that I do recommend you to use it as your pillow for open science practices. It's the Passport for Open Science that was developed in the French national policy, but it is in English, so every international student can use it. And also we are translating it into Spanish for the purposes of having more understanding among our students. Also, as you know, this course includes a session every Thursday in a topic, and then we will take you to another room for the session that is called Open Science Cafe, which is a 1-hour session with one expert in the context of open science at international level. Mainly the people that we have invited for this Open Science Cafe series, they are European. but also in that Open Science Cafe, we want you to participate. So because it's not going to be only you, it will be other researchers in the university, other academics, some invited people, for example, people invited from the Spanish Agency of Evaluation, some other experts and people that they are going to join us in this open discussion. Today, we are going to have a very, very, very distinguished speaker, because Kostas Glinos is the head of the unit of the Open Science in the European Commission, that he will introduce us the new developments in open science in the European concept, in the European perspective, particularly in the Horizon Europe Framework Program, which is the framework program for research that has been recently approved in the European Parliament. So this is going to be your context for the next 7 years of publications, of behaviors, of the projects that you are going to be engaged. And also, I thought that it was a very good idea to start with this speaker, because he will frame up the context where you are in research. Because what happened in Europe is like a domino effect that happened afterwards in the member states. Currently in Spain, we are working in a commission of open science, that I'm one of the members of that commission, on giving some advice to the Ministry of Science to establish some policy or sort of policy. I would like to have a full-fledged policy, but we are trying to make something in the European direction of open science in Spain. So this is very important, and I do really recommend you to join the session. So this course has these particularities and these different parts of the sessions. Every day you will have a session created in the classroom that you have in Aula Global. Today is the first day. Probably some people are a bit confused, because what is the Open Science Cafe? There are people that they are only registered for the Open Science Cafe. There are people that they are registered for everything. But if you are a student of the PhD programs in the university and you have chosen this particular course as your research background training, you have to have access to this room in the Aula Global environment. That is probably something that you know, it's an environment that you are accustomed to use, okay? So I will pass the floor now to my colleague, Tony, because he will give you some other insights on the evaluation and how we are going to do it. Tony, go ahead. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Do you have your microphone? Or it's only me? Do others can hear Tony? I can't. Oh, okay. So I was thinking it was only my problem. Well, these kind of things happen every single day. Yesterday, I couldn't get my camera, and it has all black in another platform because we are switching platforms and everything.
I'm sorry, I was in a go-to meeting. Yeah, I was in another meeting with another platform, and you know the micro change. So I was saying, good morning, everybody. This is a doctoral PhD course, so you have the right to recognition of credits. So if you want to get the 2 credits, we need to make a kind of assessment or evaluation. The evaluation is quite simple. It's just to publish a blog post. It could be a final big, large blog post, or it could be also short blog post, and then we can discuss on the platform. We have set up a blog site, so it's on WordPress. There you can find the program. Maybe you can find also some other materials that we will replicate in Aula Global, but maybe you can also want to share some material with some friends. We will share in this platform. This is a WordPress site. And if you want to log in, you are a user and you have the right to publish. And if you want to log in, please use your identification student number, the NIA. It's something similar to that number. Everyone has their own. And just say that you lost the password and you will have access to the blog post. That's all. That's the place. And the idea is that we can discuss and answer some questions and Twitter on this platform. So it's something that will stay for longer and not, this is open science. So we don't want to have our material behind the wall of Aula Global. So this is open science. Let's be coherent. So we will publish here all the materials and we will try to discuss. Anyway, the evaluation will take place here, right? So you have to write at least one blog post. Okay? It's easy. You can have access, and well, that's all from my side. It's very easy. Just log in and you can go inside. Eva, I pass you the floor. Now I realize I wasn't sharing the video. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's good that we share the video because we will be closer. It's one of the advantages and disadvantages of being online. But well, you have here the blog where you have to contribute. We want you to have one post at the end of the course. If you want to make a video, it's also very good idea, in my opinion. And Tony just was convincing me that it's a very good idea because some people just want to have a communication in video. But also you have to do at least one mandatory post, just gathering what you have learned in this course. What is your personal opinion about open science after everything? Not what is your opinion today, what is your opinion and what is your practices and what are the drawbacks for practicing open science in your personal field and in your personal career. And also we want to hear after the course, what are your plans to become an open scientist during your PhD and beyond in your academic career. Okay. There is any doubt about the content of the course, how you access to the material? You have the slides in the Aula Global, but as Tony said to you, probably we will share it with in the open. We will share also the videos if everybody agrees upon that. And also you have seen the program that that Tony and I, we are going to give more of the presentations, the general presentations, but we have also invited some people that it will be crucial for you to know, like for example the president of EURODOC, which is the European Association for Doctoral Students, and she's will be very kind to offer you the view from the open science from the early career researchers. Also, we have invited the participants of the Citizen Science Association in Europe, European Citizen Science Association, for the specific topic of citizen science, that I'm very much engaged with citizen science, but I'm not an expert. And also you will have the opportunity to listen to some practices in the real world. And also we will have a session from the library and the URI for Open Science in the university that will help you to understand much better. I don't know if there is any question. Tony, I'm putting my... Okay, Alexandra, please go ahead.
Hello, good morning. My name is Alexandra. I have a doubt. I didn't understand quite well. How am I supposed to log in order to, for example, do this contribution with the blog post? Is with my DNE or my NIE, for example? I didn't understand quite well.
Tony?
Just the first number, the first part of your email of the university, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
And just because you don't have the password, just say I lost the password, and you will the system will send you a password to reset and you can set the password that you want.
Okay,
Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any other question or any other issue? Actually, since we are going to be together every Thursday, feel free to just ask us questions in between. I'm just thinking that this is wrong. The two dots. Well, the URL is right, but there is. Oh, it's not. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I was thinking that I have a bad character there. But also, we will share everything in the platform. We will share everything in the blog. And since we are in Aula Global, you can write to the whole people. But we want the contribution that is going to be evaluated for the course should be open. We have to be coherent. Okay. So if we are talking about open science, you have to openly share what you think. That's right. Okay, the content for today is just what I said to you, is just warming up what are we going to do, and tell you what is open science, open knowledge, open research, and open scholarship, which is it's more or less the synonyms that we are using for this big concept, and why to be an open scientist, and how we have these challenges on top of the table, and where is the main actions and documents and policies that they have been run in Europe. I will not be very deep on that because this is a section that it will be covered in the Open Science Cafe with Costas Glinos, that I think he will be firsthand telling you what is going on. And also, I will tell you that you are part of this journey because we are responsible for doing the UC3M policy on open science, and you as researchers and early career researchers here, you are a fundamental part of this journey. And also we'll show you some initiatives and some other resources that you can use to engage more with this open science movement. But first of all, let me tell you that you will see me with many hats, okay? Sometimes I will be very institutional because I'm the Deputy Vice President for Open Science Policies in the university. So sometimes I will try to just guide you to the whole path that we are creating and developing in the university. Sometimes you will see me very much oriented in the policy level because I was working on the European Open Science Policy Platform. Sometimes you will see that I'm a librarian by training, and sometimes you will see me as a researcher, which is actually where we want you to see us as researchers, because we are involved in all these projects and in all these things related with open science. So also Tony and I, we are researchers in open science. We do meta research. It's research about research, how to improve the open science and how to improve the openness and the cycle of the knowledge transfer. But we also want to know a bit about you. So if you go to this URL, I will just share my screen so you can see the questions. Let me share them. If you go to that address, let me copy on the chat. I want to know a bit more who are the people in the audience, because that will be very interesting. Okay, here you are. And I will share now my screen. have 1 million tabs open. Okay, somebody started already. I want to know a bit more about you. We cannot make introductions because you are a lot of students, but this is also an interesting thing because this course is taught in English because we have a lot of international students. But sometimes I want also to know if you all speak Spanish, if we have some resources in Spanish or something like that. So we have students from India, Portugal, Iran, China, so that I'm assuming that you are not very proficient in Spanish, or, well, you may be. Okay. So mainly from Spain, Portugal, and also Latin American countries. Okay. Brazil, but you can, Andrea, please, you can answer in the URL. And Amar, Iraq. Okay. Wonderful, interesting. But if you go to the this URL in the chat, Amar and Ahmed, you can. Okay, good. PhD second working, what is that? Somebody answer very weird things. I am a PhD student currently in the second year working in Materials Institute. Okay, so also we have people from Switzerland, China, Spain, Argentina, Spain. So this is our cloud. Okay, but the materials, the answer in the materials was in the middle of the thing. Okay, so let's move on a bit more to know better about you. Are you wearing a pajamas? Because this is what happened in an online course. If you are wearing a pajamas, you are very welcome. Okay, well, this is just an icebreaking question. Excuse me for the stupid thing. That's it. Let's move on, and this is the real good one that I want you to answer today. What is open science for you? A course. Who said that it's just a course? Open access to research resources, making knowledge available for everyone. Free open publications, freedom and community. That's a very interesting one. A new form of practicing research, source of common knowledge, practices and values for the advancement of the society. Share results and methods so they can be replicated by others. Very good. Open science is a scientific culture. Yeah, it's a very interesting one too. Sharing knowledge, tools, data, say to sharing or reusing data publication software, a ticket to develop a professional PhD sharing contents with colleagues from all over the world. Wonderful. Open collaboration, open data, open access, open education, open culture. So this is kind of the elements. Okay, very good. Somebody wants to chime in and open the microphone and give us a bit of more insights? Okay, so I want you to, at the end of the course, you improve this knowledge that you have as open science, because it is a bit of all that you have said before, but you have to put all together. Now let's have a guess. How many publications do we produce a year? Do you have a guess? Okay. Okay. Ahmed, you mean 1 million, or you are not answering in the pool? It's more fun if you answer in the pool, because we can also have the results. Okay. Any other want to answer? Well, this is data from a couple of years, but we produce 2.5 million in more than 20,000 research journals. This is the scientific production that formally is produced in papers, in publications through scientific publishers. This is no counting the publications that we have in the web, the publications that we have in repositories, the publications and they are not peer review. It's not all the contributions that we have. It's just the contributions that they are formalized. And I have now a question that I would like somebody to chime in and open the microphone and tell me what is really your perspective. Do you have time to read all these papers? Who wants to answer about your perception in your field about the academic production? It's impossible. Okay, any other thoughts about your perception about the academic production? The last answer or the last question? My question is that what is your perception about the number of publications that you have in your field, if you think that you can afford to read all of them? Okay, I think your point is very interesting, Alberto. And I have the same idea of you, Israel. It caused me a lot of anxiety. Okay, let's move on, because I think it's that important that we set up where we are. Do you know what is EOS?
Wow.
I have a couple of students.
Wow.
My PhD, that they are the yes that they say, right? Only one? Nancy, Rosanna, you probably know it, right? Okay, so you don't know what is EOS. Okay, welcome to this course and welcome to the next session of the Open Science Cafe, that you will see that the European Open Science Cloud is one of the big infrastructures that the European Commission is investing millions and millions of euros to build up a common European platform. Let's say platform. When people don't know how to call things, we call it platform or portal, but it is an infrastructure where we think that we can share all the research data and make them fair, which is something that you will learn also in this course. Make the data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. So this is a very interesting thing, because when you apply for the European projects, you will have to always to bear in mind that you have to share not only the publications, but also the data. Let's move to the last one. Where do you search for academic scholarly information? When you are researching in your PhD, in your thesis, what is your primary source of information? Good. Any other thoughts, please? Google Scholar. Okay. I should have captured the... Well, Tony will tell you next week more about gold open access and black open access and these kind of things. Google Scholar, ResearchGate, both. Triple E, because there are some people from computer science probably also. Journals, books. Let me see the list. Web of Science, PubMed. Okay, Google Scholar, UC3M Library, Sci-Hub, Google Scholar, WOS, Scopus, Sci-Hub. Somebody that says, well, this is anonymous. I don't want you to open the microphone. I will not say somebody that says Sci-Hub, but somebody that says WOS, for example, that is also repeated twice. Why are you searching WOS? Do you have any reason particularly? Does anybody want to open the microphone? Okay, well, I can tell you that there is official statistics over there of a study run in the last years, and there is exactly the same answers that you gave. Sci-Hub, Google Scholar, something people want to have right open access to the information. So this is the last question because it helps me to frame you the same way that you want to find the information straight away on the web, which is the effect of Google Scholar, that sometimes is a bit messy, you need to spend a lot of time, and why you use Sci-Hub when it is an illegal resource, and if you have the legal databases in the library, because you are from the generation of researchers that you are born for the research kingdom with the web, and you need everything now, right now, and openly available. Is what I call the Futon effect, full on the net. If you don't have full on the net, full text on the net, you are not interested. So when you don't reach the full text, you go to Sci-Hub. Why? Because it's easy and quick. So if you want to consume information open, easy, and quick, you have to create the same outcomes of your research, easy, open, quick. Okay, so let's move on to the presentation again. Thank you very much for your participation. It really helped us to know you a bit better and to probably be capable to pin down a bit more the content of the course, because perhaps I should ask you also about how many of you practice citizen science, how many of you share your data from your research, but I think it was pretty significant when I told you, when I asked you about the European Open Science Cloud, because it's kind of a really new, clear environment for the publication of results of research, and you don't even know it. So this is something that shows me the reality, because I'm involved in projects with European Open Science Cloud. I'm evaluating project about EOS. I'm listening the European Commission every single day about the European Open Science Cloud evolution and everything. And the reality is the researchers, that you are the main researchers, that you are the ones that they have to change the wheel of the science in the future. That's why I think it's so important to teach you about to be an open scientist, because you are the ones that you have to really change the rhythm of the new research. So let's move on a bit. I think sharing again my screen. I don't know if I'm sharing the right one. Can you see the full screen?
Yes, sharing.
Okay, so well, this is what I want to tell you about the open science policies in the University Carlos III, that you are part of the journey. I want to tell you that you are invited to join us. JERUN is the Young European Research University Network that the university belongs to, and we have a common policy. We are currently discussing policies and how to improve the open science practices. We are developing an open science website that I hope that before the end of this course, you will have access to it. And also we are adopting a strategy, and our strategy is bottom up. That's why you are in this course. That's why we organize the Open Science Cafe, because we want the community, the researchers, and particularly you guys, that you are the PhD students, to have the knowledge to create a new behavior, a new culture, so we can build up a new environment in the university to create a mandate. Because I don't believe in the open science only top down. When somebody asks you to open it up, the open resources, and you don't have any support or any community building ideas. And also we have created this support unit for open science to help you guys. And we have also behind us a project of the UFE consortium, which is called UFERIN, that will help us to push these ideas in a more international context. Okay, let's move on a bit from the concepts and compare what is closed science or traditional science, the science that we produce now, that you are accustomed to be evaluated for, and also what is the open science in green. The closed science is focusing on papers, and still we are focusing too much on papers. But the open science will focus on publishing not only papers, but also other research outcomes. For example, data, methodologies, software, open code, and a lot of other outcomes that could happen out of your research, that they are not a full-fledged paper in an academic publisher, that they are the ones that they have the whole business of our scientific communication. Closed science is individualist. When I say individualist, it's not that you say that you are one author per paper, but it's something that is so competitive that you keep your own knowledge, but you don't share it until you have the paper published. Because if you have the paper published, or if you share the paper before it's published, you can have a lot of competition. And in the open science,
just in your PowerPoint, but in an edition mode, so maybe you can to present.
I share in this one. Okay, yeah, I have to change the. Sorry, yeah, I'm sharing not the main one. Let me see, how can I do this?
You're still in the same place. Okay.
Yeah, that's the problem sometimes when you have two screens, that you mess up a bit. Let me see, this is the one. So I have to share now. I have to share the full screen, that I cannot find it now. Oh yeah, got it. So this is the full one. Sorry. Okay. So this is what we were talking about, that is a more collaborative science. And the point is, okay, and also another particular characteristic of open science is that it's more cross-disciplinary science. You will see in the definitions, the last definition from UNESCO, that UNESCO is working in a very, very good direction, in my opinion. And they aim to approve in November this year a set of recommendations that they are globally being accepted. So, and in this definition of open science, they talk about transdisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity. This is wonderful, because if it is in the practice, in the general practice, is where we can address the real big challenges of the society. If you address the COVID-19 from all your perspective, just making yet another paper, yet another vaccine, it will be something like it's just in a vertical way. If you do it cross-disciplinary way, that will be more creative, and you can come up discovering something by chance, which is the most amazing part of science. When you come up with something by serendipity, what is not finding something, but discovering something. This is something that I do really want you to think about it, because it's more important to think about discovery than findability. That is two concepts that they are really, really confronted. So the other thing very important is the new research evaluations. In the last Open Science Cafe, we will have the director of the CWTS in the University of Leiden, that she will tell us about what we call responsible research metrics. And I can tell you that we are working in different levels to change the new ways to evaluate people, to evaluate career assessment. And the European Commission is really, really on this topic this year. I bet that Kostas will tell you in the session later on. But let's move on a bit on the, let me see if I can move my slides here from here. Yes, this is the traditional research cycle. You know, you think your research, you think your thesis, you have a plan, you discover some things, you discover information, you discover data, you discover different results, and then you have to analyze and gather all this information. And at the end, it's only one thing in a closed cycle. What we want to do in the open science is this same cycle, but it has to be openly as soon as possible. So it's not about opening the publication or the impact of the communication of your research. It's about opening your ideas, opening your experiments, and opening your data in a more creative way. And also at the end of the cycle, if you share your data, you have also to foster your reproducibility. Here you have more research workflow about this, the same idea, how you do the discovery and how you do the writing, the publication, and further on the publication, how you go to the outreach. And one of the things that I like particularly for this researcher workflow is that we put in the equation also the assessment. And the assessment, for example, now in the Spanish Agency of Evaluation about the publications that the senior researchers, they have to apply for, they are considering to ask for the peer review results, because something is something that sometimes is very doubtedly to demonstrate that you have that accepted a paper in a very clear evaluation by peers. What the European Commission, what we want to do in an open peer review world is that the publications are open, the review process are open, and all the contribution is shared and pushed up in a very important way. But this is another thing that I want to share with you, which is what is the academic knowledge production process nowadays. We can have a research question or an idea. We can have funding, and we can have different methods, and we can collect data, and we can analyze those data, write up, blah, blah, blah. But in all these paths, we have the scientific publishers getting more and more advantage of our work. The last thing that they have done is that converting the subscription model to access to publications in a way that you share the publications in gold open access, which is something that Tony will tell you more in deep in the next session. But we are in the hands of all these tools. Can you identify who is the owner of all these tools here? Highbench, Mendeley, SSRN, that they were openly resources that they were something like 5 or 6 years ago openly available. For example, SSRN, which is the social science research network that used to be an open repository for social sciences. It was bought by a publisher. Mendeley used to be research a reference management system, a research reference management system, but it was also bought by the same company. We have also Cybal, which is one of the particular applications, Scopus, which is the measuring and the impact measuring of this publisher. And we have also HighBench, which is an open notebook thing. We have Pure, which is a current research information system that they are also selling to us again. And we have Plum, for example, which is another tool that helps you to measure the impact of the publications and the contributions from the metrics of the next generation metrics of the social environment. Who is what we are talking about? Does anybody know it? Or is in the chat? Okay, exactly. All these tools are from Elsevier, which is one of the main publishers, one of the main 5 publishers in the oligopoly of the research publications, coming along with Springer Nature, Wiley, Elsevier, American Chemical Society, and I don't remember the 5th, but they are the big ones, okay? Well, the 5th is Elsevier, so that's it. So here there is the definition of the previous commissioner of the European Commission, Commissioner Moedas, and he talked all the time about a systemic change. To have a change, we need to move all the context, and to affect the whole research cycle is not only to affect the result, we have to affect the way we do research. Here you have some definitions. I will not read all of them. It's just for your own knowledge, that you have to think that is science more accessible, is science more contributing methods, and you can share with others, practicing science in such a way that you can collaborate. So this is the point: freely available resources, collaborative science, and in different stages, openly as soon as you can. Okay, this is the definition that I said to you before. That is the last one that we have come up with UNESCO draft recommendations to open science, and they really underline the scientific knowledge openly available. They don't say just a particular expression, but they say scientific knowledge as a whole. And scientific knowledge means data, means publications, means education, means materials, methods, everything. And also, is what I mentioned before, includes all disciplines. And the key pillars that they underline is open access to scientific knowledge, open science infrastructures, which is what I was really trying to tell you about, the open publication platforms, the open publication for research data like European Open Science Cloud, open science communication, open engagement of societal actors, which means citizen science, but also just putting in the whole equation the industry, and also open the dialogue with other knowledge systems. This is the representation of open science components, and you can see that it's not only open data and open access. Of course, we will focus in the course in open access to publications and open data, which is the new thing that is required. But we have to think about the open evaluation, as I told you, more transparent science. If you give money to people to do research as a taxpayer, you want to receive how these people is evaluated, and you want to know what are the outcomes of that evaluation. And also, if you are a citizen, you want to be engaged on that process. For example, I remember once that I was in a panel with the president of the European Patient Association, and he said, I don't care about your CV. I care that I don't want to die. So that's the crucial moment where science is for and with society. And this is the typical representation that we said that open science is an umbrella. I was yesterday in a presentation of the Citizen Science Association in Australia, and they said that is these three elements: open data, open access, and citizen science. But in my perception of open science, I think there is an umbrella term that is something that covers, but my particular representation is a mushroom, because I think we need also roots. It's not something that you can have an umbrella without anything growing up. Open science should grow in what we call the responsible research and innovation, which is a new philosophical approach to the way we do science in a responsible way, with new research integrity mechanisms, and with gender balance, and with science for the society, public engagement, etc. But also we need these roots. And also I always have this fun comment that this is a mushroom scientifically incorrect, because the mushrooms, they don't have roots particularly, but it's something that it has to grow based on the reward system, on the research infrastructure, and the research integrity. If we don't come up with open science, with a new reward system based on incentivizing these new practices, not only practicing the paper, the final paper in the publisher, but you have also to have the particular infrastructures that allow you to share your knowledge. If you don't have an infrastructure, you cannot invent the European Open Science Cloud. And also a new mechanisms for research integrity that allows you to share the knowledge in the open, where there are many issues like the intellectual property rights, that the privacy of the data. And that's why we will say, when we are talking about the open data, as open as possible, as close as necessary, because there are a lot of boundaries that they are really affecting the openness. So it's not an easy business. And in my perception of open science, in this umbrella, in this mushroom, the main transversal element is citizen science, because it's something that should be with the open science. And it's where we are going to have a session just focusing on citizen science practices and methodologies. This is the representation for the American Roundtable of Open Science, which is a toolkit that they are developing recently. The point is that you can't download the document, but I couldn't. I download the document, but I didn't save the URL. I will give it to you through the forum, or just I will complete the slides. But there are three key elements to align in open science: the practices, data sharing, open access, pre-registration of the methods, pre-registration of the protocols of your research, but also you need to have research values for the society. Full-on research, transparency, reproducibility, and replicability. That is two concepts that we are going to change a bit more on the explanation of how to do your research in a reproducible, replicability way. But also you need to have incentives. The incentives for hiring people, for tenure and promotion, and also the incentives for the funders. Tony will tell you next week about the Plan S, and also we will have ERC, a European Research Council researcher, Sabina Leonelli, that she's a Plan S ambassador, that she will tell us how the funders are trying to motivate open science, and what are the limitations that this has for the researchers as such. Okay. Well, here you have more explanations of the elements or components of open science, and also different representations. And just invite you to watch this video of open science, which is the strategy of the Young European Research University Network. This is another project of open science, which is called Orion, that they build up this tree about the big element, and the key elements are participation, the different participation of the stakeholders and industry, where we mentioned before, all the societal actors, and also the open access to research for the society. And this is the context of responsible research and innovation, where openness is the key component of transparency. This is what we mentioned in the mushroom, that it is the context where open science grows. This is something that you probably will see in the Open Science Cafe of today, because Kostas Glinos will tell you one of the main developments of the European Commission. If you have, or if you are involved in some European project, even in the Horizon 2020, in the last project of Horizon 2020, you might have received an invitation to publish in ORE. That may be probably another question that I should have introduced in the participation questionnaire. ORE is the Open Research Europe, which is the new platform for the European Commission to publish in open access in what we call Diamond model, that Tony will probably also explain you more when we talk about publications. But here you have the benefits of open science in general cases. Being in the open just makes you more visible, so you can have more opportunities of collaboration, more citation, because people are crazy still about citations. I think in the future probably we will be more interested in some other things that in citations. But even if you are in the traditional evaluation mode of science, where you are evaluated for the number of citations that your work received, even that, the sooner you publish something, the more visible you are. If you publish your document in a closed journal, only the people that they have access to your journal can access to your contribution. If you open it up in a repository, or if you're opening it up in another context, you will have more impact. Even if it is, how many of you use ResearchGate? Oh, no, don't answer. Does anybody don't use ResearchGate? Somebody in the course has never opened an account in ResearchGate? I don't listen anything. Probably all of you use ResearchGate. Why do you use ResearchGate? One, because you have a collaboration environment with your colleagues that follow your publications. Two, because there are publications shared in the open. And three, because it's super, super easy, because you can connect your ResearchGate with your ORCID and with other things, and it's all coming up together. And at the end of the day, if you cannot share your publication, you always can ask the author to give you a copy, which is the most common way to get a publication. Write to the author and say, do you have a copy of that? So that's why we want to improve the way that people share the metadata, the information about the publications that they do in the repository, because it's giving visibility from the moment of submission. In some disciplines, if some of you are from the discipline of mathematics, physics, you probably put your preprints always in archive, which is something that you will see also in the paths of publication. But in other fields, there are people just only close on the subscription models. This is another interesting explanation why to be an open scientist. And this is an expression for Nelly Cruz, that she was also a commissioner in the before 2014, she was commissioner. And she said about that the open access to scientific results is a way to put science, but also is a way to pay back to the taxpayers. This is a very interesting cartoon. Give me your data. No, I don't want you to share my data. So the taxpayer will say, give me my money back. That's a realistic explanation. And also there are other reasons for why to do research and in the open. Here you have some of them that we have been mentioned: reproducibility, transparency, efficiency, and also contribute. But the main one is reproducibility. Probably, I don't know if Kostas will mention in the Open Science Cafe this report, but it's one of the last reports that was published in December last year about reproducibility of scientific results in the European Union. they are now interested in knowing all of the money that they have invested in Horizon 2020, if it is still part of the reproducibility, how many of the studies that they have participate economically are reproducible. So this is a very interesting thing, because sometimes the researchers, we are so contaminated with our own interest of being published that sometimes people make up the results or something like that. I will not go very much on the policies. I will just go to the what I call the motivators of will for academics. And there are 3 motivators of will. One is money, funding. The other one is when you have a mandate or a regulation. And the other one is ranking. Unfortunately, nobody cares about rankings, but everybody cares about rankings. And the 4th one is seduction. And I think this is a motivator for the researchers. We do science because it's that we are, engaged with this, we're changing something of the society, we're changing some mechanisms, we're discovering something. And also the seduction is a motivator in terms that open science should be very easy to practice. Nobody will do something that is very complicated. That's why we want to make it happen with the support of the unit. Make it easy, motivate, and help the researchers. This is another very interesting justification for you guys to do this course. This is a conversation that I came up across from a researcher for the University of Cambridge last week, and he said that much of the postdoc candidates that they interview, they want to do open science. But the funny thing is that in the new applications, in the new offers for research for postdocs, is super important to be an open scientist. And that's why, for example, EURODOC, the European Early Career Researchers Association, is working on open science. Marie Curie Association of Students is working on open science, because more and more your career, at the contrary that you think that is going to be based on publications, of course, but at the contrary that you think, it will be also evaluated for the open science and the attitude and the practices that you do in open science. And also here, we have an email in Spanish. That's why I ask you if you understand Spanish, because it was kind of an email that I received as participant in the Horizon 2020 program, that they consider if you don't publish in Green Open Access, that is something that you will understand better in the next session, it will be considered a serious breach for the project, and sometimes the researchers should have to give the money back if they don't demonstrate that they have sharing the knowledge that it has been publicly funded. Okay. This is another example about why you should do open science, because it's a way of increasing transparency and reproducibility. But one of the motivators of will is the money, and one of the most sensitive parts of the human body is the pocket. So sometimes to see these kind of things, that is very sad. This was the problem of ERC grantee, European Research Council grantee, that they canceled her grant because some of the results that she published in a Nature journal, they were not reproducible. So open data is a synonym of transparency, and they have to be the raw data to demonstrate what you have discovered. So this transparency should be something like by default situation. So this researcher, she lost a grant of almost 2 million euros for that behavior. So, and also there is another very, very important reason, which is that open science saves lives. And this is what we have been seeing in the last year, that more and more, even the publishers, the very business-oriented element of the whole scientific world, they open it up, not completely open. They open only in bronze, which is the way that publishing in the open, but without having the right of the licensing of keeping the reusability of the publication of the data. They keep that, but even those publishers, they open the research, and of course bioarchive, all these preprints, they were exploding of publications because everybody wanted to share. And I remember last year that they called me from the radio to ask me about, you know, the thing about the COVID-19, that it was in the news, that they say that ibuprofen was good or it was bad for the, it was like a whole discussion about a paper about ibuprofen in the newspaper. It wasn't a scientific level discussion, it was in the radio. And I said, the point is that since that paper was in the open, the scientific community just spot the problem, that it was bullshit, in one day. If that was published in the walls and the paywalls, nobody will discover if the ibuprofen was good or was bad for the COVID. So we haven't seen in the COVID-19 situation science in real time, science in the open all the time. This is another reason for you to share your publications. This is, I don't know if you are putting some information of your projects in the participant portal, but you will always be evaluated if you have been opening up your publications. And green open access is mandatory. You will see that in the next class. Well, I will just jump on these slides that they are more about policies, because I'm sure that Kostas Glinos will tell you about the elements. This is the participation that we have been working at a stakeholder level, policymakers, research infrastructures, research libraries, funding organizations, publishers and citizen science association, and also universities. I was representing universities in the European Open Science Policy Platform, where we were working in these these 8 pillars, but one of them is the crucial one, which is the bottleneck of openness to happen, the reward and incentive system. Well, this is the message of the new commissioner. As I told you, these are the things that Kostas will go deeper. Here you have a collection of policies at a European level, and some of the policies that they are just under development, like the one in Spain, as I mentioned before. To make open science happen, you need funding. Is where the coordinator of the open science policy in France, he told me one day, you cannot make policies if you don't have budget. And I say, well, I'm very sad because I don't have any extra budget, but I try to do policies. And also have other open science policies at a global level, Malaysia, Canada, and also the one that I mentioned before of UNESCO. So this is the how to become an open scientist during the whole research cycle. I want you to be evaluated for a new research evaluation. Are you prepared for a new research evaluation? This is a very interesting joke that I always use when I talk about research evaluation, and when we are discussing about how to improve the career assessment systems. Always there are people that they say you cannot evaluate a mathematician with a person that research in law or with a person that research in social sciences. That's true. You cannot evaluate with the same criteria all the domains and all the practices. Okay, it's the same thing that if you say that you are going to be evaluated for climbing a tree and you have a fish, a penguin, an elephant, and a monkey. So what do you think he will be the one that will get it in? So you cannot evaluate all the disciplines for the journal impact factor, because they are disciplines. The journal impact factor is not relevant for their contribution to the society. And this is the representation of where we want to be. This is from the Foster project. That it was the project that Tony and I, we really start engaging the PhD students on the open science, because as I mentioned before, you are the ones that you have to incorporate all these elements in your research. But the most important thing is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do as a early career researcher, as a PhD student? The most important is your personal contribution. It's what I call the PCIs, the practical commitment for implementation in open science, which is what you, as a student of the University Carlos III of Madrid, with your conditions, with your situation, with your career evaluation, with your department projects, with your field, with your nationality, with your funding, with the funding that you don't have, what are you going to do? What you can do for open science? Perhaps I cannot change the whole publishing mechanism. I would love to, but I can change a little tiny bit the policy in the University Carlos III. So that's why you are here, guys, to help us to change the openness of the university. And also what you can do, and is what you are here, is to improve your skills in open science. That's why I have getting this representation that comes from some colleagues in the University of Utrecht in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is one of the most role models country in the practice of open science. It's amazing. You have seen also before that they have a budget for open science projects. They have everything. But here I want you to explore if you know all these tools to incorporate in your practices for different parts of your research, for different parts of your, for searching information, for the analysis of information, for the writing, for the publication, for the outreach, and for the assessment. The whole cycle that we thought about before in the workflow of your research in the open. You have different alternatives to open it up and to have an effect on your practices. Do you know all these tools? Well, they are very little ones, but I will invite you to explore them in the different ways. For example, this is Rio, which is a publication system that you can search for information. And Rio is research information in the open, and they share not only the publication in a traditional way, they share publications in another kind of contributions that will be very interesting. And also you have Jupyter, which is a tool that you can use actionable formats to share your mechanisms of your production and to improve your reproducibility. Also, you have opening licensing that you have to learn about more, what they mean. I think we don't have a session devoted to intellectual property rights and licensing, but probably in the next series of Open Science Cafe, we will focus on this topic because it's really, really important. Also, you have to know the other mechanisms of sharing your research, like repositories for research data, Triad, Zenodo, Dataverse, and all the other. The library will tell you that we are belonging to a repository based on Dataverse in the university. The universities of Madrid, they share this repository of data. But also you have to know all the tools that they will allow you to make your life as a researcher easier in the open. Okay, so explore of this, and perhaps you can include some comments when you finish this course, what you have learned. If you incorporate these tools in your cycle of research, it would be fantastic. And then I will mention again the resources that you have to consider to improve your open science practices. Here you have a collective environment that it was created by one of the most advocates in open science, that he passed away last year in an accident. It was a very, very sad news, but it was an endeavor that people join him in this open science Mooc. Is a Mooc, a massive open online course to learn more about open science and different. It's a collective an open initiative. And also, just to give you some spots, and we will get deeper in resources, probably we will have a collection of resources sharing in Aula Global or in the blog. You can have this RDA for early career researchers. RDA is the Research Data Alliance, and we were going to talk a bit more when we are going to talk about the research data. But they have an interest group just open for early career researchers and to engage with the research data, which is something, it's a good way to start with the research data mechanisms and the research data challenges, that they are much more than the publications. And also, I just choose this to invite you because I discovered this last week. Is a sprint of innovation that is promoted with eLife, which is eLife is one of the most important open access publications that they have been producing very good work in the open, like F1000 and other platforms for sharing knowledge. But they have a call for projects that is going to be closed on the 31st of May. And they want ideas from PhD students, for early career researchers, on innovation and how to improve publishing practices, how to support reproducibility, how to promote diversity and inclusion in research, which is something that is implicit in open science, but is also part of the responsible research and innovation, and also how to facilitate research collaboration. So this is an open call for you guys. If you have very interesting ideas, because I think probably you have your own ideas about how to make open science happen, how to make science better in your own domain. Okay, so this is all for today. Thank you very much. Just an announcement, because we have still 5 minutes for questions, and I would like you to chime in if you have any question. But we will have a break of half an hour, so you can make your own coffee. You can just go to buy a coffee or have your lunch, and come back, please, for the Open Science Cafe, because we have very, very interesting and important presentation today. Okay, so just any questions, because I didn't look at the chat. Anybody wants to share thoughts? Firozet, I don't know how you pronounce your name, but Firo? Hello. Go ahead, please. Open your microphone, open your camera, so we can know a bit each other. That's nicer.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, clearly.
Hi, thank you for your nice talk. I had a question, and I don't know if you have mentioned it in the beginning, because I arrived a bit late. How much more or less is the funding that European Union has on this open science for the researchers or for the whole society? Do you know about it?
That's a very interesting question, but it's a question that you can ask Kostas Klinos, because he is the head of the unit of open science in the European Commission. I can tell you that the European Commission has invested a lot of money in the infrastructures, a lot of money in in creating a stakeholder approach, bottom-up approaches, and also they have been funding a specific program about science with and for society to improve responsible research and innovation, including open science and citizen science. But now there is not a specific budget for open science. There is different budgets to develop different things. For example, it's a huge budget for developing European Open Science Cloud. It is also a funded project, the ORE, the Open Research Europe platform. And also they have, the incentive of practicing open science in the whole Horizon Europe program. But this is something that you will see in the Open Science Cafe of today. And I really recommend you guys to pose this question to Kostas and be as much participative as you can, because I will really want to listen the voice of the early career researchers.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, I want you to pose the question, and I'm very happy to listen the answer, of course, that's about this.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
Esther Tuerto have another question, I guess. Esther,
Okay.
can you open your micro?
We cannot hear you.
No, we are.
It's not working. Would you like to type it on? When you are typing your question, just let me ask you guys if you understand that today was just kind of framing up, knowing each other, thinking of the whole challenges that we have in front of us. We will have more practical questions and more specific information in the next sessions. And also would like to know if all of you have understand that we will have a mandatory post about what you have learned, what is your strategy for the future as an open scientist, and what is your idea, your perceptions of the advantages, the drawbacks, and the importance of this topic in your future career development.
Eva, Esther is asking, does open science mean the free access to scientific research? What does it open actually mean?
Well, that's a very good question too. Would you like to chime in, Tony? Or would you like me to?
You know, for me, open is free. It will depend about what we are talking about, but open, it means free to access, and meaning free, that is gratis in Spanish, but it's also open for reuse, open license. For me, those are the two key points of, the definition of open. It's free, meaning that you can access for no money, and it's free for reuse of the publication or data. Emma?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's super interesting because I agree with Tony that one thing is free, that is just for no cost, is just free, and another thing, it will be open, that is not necessary to be no cost for anybody. For example, if you publish your papers in the repository, which is something that you have to do, I want to tell you that is something that you have to incorporate in your practice. It is a cost in the infrastructures. The Open Research Europe, the platform the European Commission is building up, has a cost. But the point is that the openness means that the citizen, the reader, has not to pay for accessing the information. And also the openness is a big word which is more related with the licenses. Is what I mentioned before, and you can see examples if we have time in the next session, that some of the publishers, they have open the documents, is something like open to view, but you don't have the license to use it. So this is a different particular nuance that is crucial for the openness. Okay? Anybody else have any questions? Sayhab was mentioned in the beginning. No, I didn't mention Sayhab. You did, guys, in the answers. So, as Sayhab was mentioned in the beginning, it's in platforms such as Sayhab want to create open science, a portal accessible for everyone containing all scientific knowledge. Why some researchers are so against it? Well, I don't think that the researchers are against Sayhab. They are against that it's illegal. I mean, it's not, I will never promote here, and I'm just thinking now that I have been talking very freely in this talk, and I'm not sure if I want to share the videos with everybody in the world because it's kind of a discussion. But the Sci-Hub is just a demonstration of the natural frustration of the researchers. You know that the woman that promoted this alternative illegal platform to accessing information, she has been called the Robin Hood of science. And what happened is that she comes from Kazakhstan, which is a country that probably they don't have the billions of euros and dollars that the rich world pays for accessing the information. And she was frustrated because she wanted to access to the same information. So that's why she made this illegal thing. But the idea is fantastic. Have openly available all the resources, all the scientific outputs and everything. But now we have to do the same thing in the legal world. Okay? But the idea is where we are following up, is sharing everything in the open. Alexandra, please, can you open your microphone, your camera if you want to?
Hello again. I was wondering if we are going to explore some of the tools that we mentioned before in order to engage with this open science paradigm, because I must confess I didn't know any of them. It's a new concept for me. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, we don't have a particular session hands-on. I say we are going to learn to use today Zotero as a search and reference management system, because it's not the objective of this course. But I invite you to explore some of them, and if you have any doubt, we can just go further. We will explain different tools attached to different topics. Okay. For example, I will explain you when we are talking about the data. I will tell you about the data management plan tools. When we talk about publications, probably Tony will tell you about open access repositories. When you are going to have the session with the library will tell you what is our open access repository, what are the practices on the context of the university that we can offer you to improve your engagement with the openness.
Okay. Yes, I knew some of open I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the word.
Yeah.
Repositories, yes, but I was talking mostly about the other tools that you showed on one of the slides about licenses, other stuff. You see, that's the things I still need to discover. But thank you for the answer.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, sorry, Tony. I wish that this course just open you up the whole window and give you the ticket to go to the open science practices. But the limit is you. You can put the limit. We are not going to put you the limit.
Okay.
Okay, we are, over time. It's 12:36. We have some open questions with no answers yet. What are the risks of open source? Science Hub. Science Hub was mentioned in the beginning. Is a platform. Okay, we answered this one. There are potential interest conflicts between scientific research ethics and open science, and how can this new paradigm of open publication will be adapted? Okay, there is some question not answered, but don't worry, we will move it to the blog, and we will try to give a first answer, and then we can discuss on the blog, right?
Wonderful. And also I invite you to participate in this discussion in the next session, where we have also other senior researchers and more official discussion in the university as a whole research community. So thank you very much for participating in this first session. And we will see you
the Open
there.
Science Cafe.
Yeah, just grab a coffee and see you there. Remember that you have to change the URL. It's not going to be in the same room as here. Do you have it? Do you remember that? Everybody has the URL. And also I will upload now the slides from Costas Glinos, just in case you have problems from following up the next session. Okay, I will just post here the link. Oh, you have it in the slides, but I will put it in
and it is also on Moodle on Aula Global.
It is in Aula Global. It's true, but you have to access that. Okay. This is at 1. We will see you there. See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tony. Bye-bye.
Eva, do you stop the record of the session?